Good morning, everyone. I'm Megyn Kelly. It's Wednesday, March 12th, 2025, and this is your AM Update.
President Trump believes in reciprocity, and all he's asking for at the end of the day are fair and balanced trade practices.
Canada backs down in the tariff standoff as Ontario's leader cancels a planned retaliatory measure. This after President Trump's threat to double tariffs on steel and aluminum.
Hopefully, President Putin will agree to that also, and we can get this show on the road.
A crucial step in the peace process, Ukraine agrees to a ceasefire. Now it's up to the Russians to take the next step toward peace. The left erupts over the deportation of Columbia University agitator Mahmoud Khalil, and President Trump goes car shopping. All that and more coming up in just a moment on your AM Update. These days, personal safety is not something that can be left to chance. Whether at home, on the road, or just living everyday life, having a reliable way to protect yourself and your family is crucial. That's why Burna is the choice for so many. Burna is a game-changing, less lethal self-defense tool. Compact, powerful, and easy to use, it provides the confidence to act in any situation. Burna uses non-lethal rounds, tear gas, pepper, and kinetic projectiles to effectively stop a threat from a safe distance. And the best part? Burna can be shipped direct to your door, and it's legal in all 50 states. Burna is proudly American, with products hand-assembled in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And look, sometimes a firearm is not the right choice for you, and Burna provides a powerful alternative. Protect what matters most with Burna. Visit Burna.com, that's BYRNA.com/Megyn to receive a 10% discount and learn why thousands of people and law enforcement agencies are trying out Burna's less lethal protection. Burna, non-lethal self-defense, always ready. The House passes the continuing resolution funding the government for the next 6 months. The bill passing Tuesday evening on a nearly party line vote, 217 to 213. Kentucky Congressman Thomas Massie following through on his promise to vote against the bill. In response, President Trump calling to primary Congressman Massie, a move receiving mixed reactions on the right. Speaker Johnson on Tuesday saying he is in the business of defending the incumbent despite his disagreement with Mr. Massie on the CR. The bill now moves to the Senate, where it faces complete Democrat opposition. It does require 60 votes to pass. Republicans only account for 52 yes votes, as Kentucky Senator Rand Paul, a Republican, says he is also a no. The deadline is 11:59 p.m. on Friday. Otherwise, a shutdown looms. Ontario Premier, which is like a governor, Doug Ford, backing down almost immediately on a 25% electricity surcharge on roughly 1.5 million residents of New York, Michigan, and Minnesota. On Tuesday morning, Mr. Ford played tough, slapping on the surcharge in response to Mr. Trump's 25% tariff on Canada, meant to encourage a crackdown on fentanyl. Mr. Ford saying Americans needed to, quote, feel the pain.
We will not back down. We will be relentless. I apologize to the American people that President Trump decided to have an unprovoked attack on our country, on families, on jobs, and it's unacceptable.
In response to Mr. Ford's threats, President Trump announcing he would increase aluminum and steel tariffs on Canada to 50%. Within a matter of hours, Mr. Ford backed down, reversing the surcharge, saying he will meet with Secretary of Commerce Howard Lutnick on Thursday in Washington to further discuss tariffs and trade. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt addressing the matter on Tuesday.
The president is, again, responding to the fact that Canada has been ripping off the United States of America and hardworking Americans for decades. If you look at the rates of tariffs across the board that Canadians have been imposing on the American people and our workers here, it is egregious. American cheese and butter, nearly 300% tariff. President Trump believes in reciprocity, and it is about dang time that we have a president who actually looks out for the interests of American businesses and workers. And all he's asking for at the end of the day are fair and balanced trade practices.
Markets struggling under the tariff turf wars. The Dow Jones closing Tuesday with a 1.1% drop, the S&P 500 with a 0.8% decline, and the Nasdaq with a 0.2% fall. Each of the three indices marking their worst two-day drop since August. Ms. Leavitt responding to concerns.
First of all, when it comes to the stock market, the numbers that we see today, the numbers we saw yesterday, the numbers we'll see tomorrow are a snapshot of a moment in time. We are in a period of economic transition. We are in a period of transition from the mess that was created under Joe Biden in the previous administration. Joe Biden left this country in an economic disaster.
In the first Trump administration, success was measured by markets. This time around, the president urging Americans to be patient, as he says the short-term suffering will be worth the long-term gains. Despite generally negative attitudes in the media, the Trump tariffs on Canada and Mexico are making inroads toward the president's goal of reducing fentanyl trafficking into the U.S. Just ask the New York Times? Yes, the New York Times is The Daily podcast embedding with Mexican fentanyl producers to report on the impact of increased government enforcement efforts. And listen to this.
They said, no, we shut everything down. There is such an intense crackdown by the government right now, and we're under so much scrutiny and pressure that we're not cooking anything. We're trying to sell our cars and other property to try to make up for lost income because nothing is going on here. I mean, obviously, the threat of military intervention in any way, even if it's just targeted strikes, is anathema in Mexico. But the threat of tariffs has long seemed much more credible. I have to say, of the two, I think the tariff threat is the one that really spurs the action.
Unlike heroin made from poppies and cocaine made from cocoa leaves, fentanyl is a fully synthetic drug made from chemicals. Producing the drug is relatively easy, and labs can be set up almost anywhere, which is why, up until now, it has been such a lucrative option for cartels. President Sheinbaum ramping up police activity, making hundreds of arrests throughout Mexico, including of senior cartel officers. The Daily reporting genuine fear among higher-level cartel members.
His hands are trembling in front of us. And he said, the only option for me right now is survival. No, we're not cooking. No, we're not making fentanyl. The main thing that has changed from when you were here last is that Trump is in office and he's making all of these threats, and the Mexican government is cracking down like never before.
Fentanyl is the leading cause of drug overdoses in America. More than 450,000 Americans have died of synthetic opioid overdoses in the last 10 years. While that number is on a year-to-year decline, last year synthetic opioids like fentanyl claimed 55,126 American lives, according to the CDC. Secretary of State Marco Rubio on Tuesday announcing a major update on negotiations with the Ukrainians toward a peace deal.
Today, we made an offer that the Ukrainians have accepted, which is to enter into a ceasefire and into immediate negotiations to end this conflict in a way that's enduring and sustainable and accounts for their interests, their security, their ability to prosper as a nation. We'll take this offer now to the Russians, and we hope that they'll say yes, to peace. The ball is now in their court.
This marks a dramatic shift for the Ukrainians, who previously resisted a ceasefire until the U.S. was willing to provide security guarantees. Kyiv agrees to a 30-day ceasefire, and in exchange, the U.S. will lift the pause on sharing military and intelligence aid with Ukraine. CBS News reporting the unfrozen military aid includes about $1 billion in equipment approved under the Biden administration. The agreement also says Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and President Trump will sign the minerals deal as soon as possible. President Trump responding optimistically Tuesday afternoon.
Hopefully President Putin will agree to that also, and we can get this show on the road. It's a big difference between the last visit you saw at the Oval Office. That's a total ceasefire. Ukraine has agreed to it, and hopefully Russia will agree to it.
Special Envoy Steve Witkoff will be traveling to Russia to present the deal to the Kremlin. A hearing set today in the deportation case of former Columbia University student and campus agitator Mahmoud Khalil. Mr. Khalil arrested by ICE on Saturday afternoon after his green card was revoked. His deportation paused by a federal judge pending a further hearing. The arrest igniting a firestorm on the left and some on the right even questioning it, framing it as a free speech issue, with Mr. Khalil the victim of an authoritarian regime.
This is extremely unprecedented. The government has not provided evidence that Khalil was in any way cooperating, working with Hamas.
The idea that he is an extremist or violence is preposterous to anyone who knows him.
This is the kind of thing that we are accustomed to seeing really in the world's most repressive regimes. This is the kind of thing that you would expect in a place like China or Egypt or something like that.
Mr. Khalil, currently held in a Louisiana detention facility, Cornell immigration law professor Jacqueline Kelly Widmer tells the AP, green card holders do not need to be convicted of something to be removable when the offending action relates to terrorism. The White House stating the decision was made following this man's role in organizing last year's violent and disruptive anti-Israel protests at Columbia.
This is an individual who organized group protests that not only disrupted college campus classes and harassed Jewish American students and made them feel unsafe on their own college campus, but also distributed pro-Hamas propaganda. And this administration is not going to tolerate individuals having the privilege of studying in our country and then siding with pro-terrorist organizations that have killed Americans.
The New York Post reporting Mr. Khalil was born in Syria in 1995 and briefly served as a political affairs officer with the UN's Relief and Works Agency for Palestinian Refugees. Multiple reports in 2024 revealed ties between that group and Hamas, a group the U.S. recognizes as a terrorist organization, ultimately leading the Biden administration to cut funding for this UN group. As a Columbia student, Mr. Khalil served as a student negotiator for the Columbia University Apartheid Divest Group. The New York Post reports that group, quote, sympathizes with terror groups like Hamas and Hezbollah and calls for the end of Western civilization, end quote. The Columbia Group's public Instagram showing hundreds of images calling for disruptive student actions, dozens of photos showing men and women donning Palestinian keffiyehs, a cartoon image of a young black child throwing a Molotov cocktail, captioned, "Resist all colonial powers, resist white supremacy." Another advertising a protesting skills seminar, one advertising a vigil titled, "All Martyrs Have a Name." The Trump administration has vowed to crack down on illegal protesting, saying Mr. Khalil is just the first of many to come.
Columbia University has been given the names of other individuals who have engaged in pro-Hamas activity, and they are refusing to help DHS identify those individuals on campus. And as the president said very strongly in his statement yesterday, he is not going to tolerate that.
The Trump administration has already cut $400 million in funding to the university. Coming up, President Trump goes car shopping, and the media is suspiciously silent on one of their recent favorite subjects, egg prices. 1 in 2 adults have high blood pressure. Many don't even know it. That's a ticking time bomb. But here's the good news. You have the power to take control naturally with 120 Life. 120 Life is a blend of great tasting super fruit juices that can actually help lower your blood pressure naturally. 120 Life is formulated with ingredients that have been shown to support healthy blood pressure levels. It's trusted by hundreds of health professionals, and people have seen real measurable results. You can try it yourself risk-free with their 2-week trial. Just go to 120life.com. and use the code MK to save 15% and get free shipping. You can track your progress with a simple blood pressure monitor, watch your numbers drop, and feel the difference. They are so sure that 120 Life can noticeably lower your blood pressure in 2 weeks that they will give you your money back if you're not satisfied. So you have nothing to lose but those high blood pressure numbers. Go to 120life.com. That's 120life.com. And remember to use the code MK to save 15% off your order. This is serious. This is your life we're talking about. 120 Life can help. Take control of your life and your health today. 4 Tesla Cybertrucks torched in Seattle. The suspect and motive not yet identified, though it follows a similar pattern across the country of attacks against Elon Musk's electric car company. In North Charleston last week, a masked vandal spray-painted F Trump, long live Ukraine, near Tesla charging stations before launching Molotov cocktails at the station. The local NBC outlet reporting witnesses say the suspect caught his own back on fire while fleeing the scene. In Manhattan, protesters gathered outside a Tesla showroom in the swanky West Village, chanting against Elon Musk's involvement with Doge and the Trump administration. These incidents, just a few examples of similar disturbances and disruptions against Tesla locations in recent weeks. President Trump backing Elon Musk on Tuesday with the purchase of a brand new Tesla.
I'm going to buy because, number one, it's a great product, as good as it gets. And number two, because this man has devoted his energy and his life to doing this. I think he's been treated very unfairly by a very small group of people. Because he's able to find billions and billions and billions of dollars of fraud and waste and all of the things. I mean, our country is going to be very strong very soon because of a lot of the things that he's done.
Despite increasing competition, Tesla leads the U.S. electric vehicle market with approximately 49% of sales. In second place, Ford, at just 8% of recent sales. Egg prices making like Humpty Dumpty and having a great fall. Average prices falling by nearly $2 a dozen, now cheaper than when President Trump took office. Egg prices have been steadily rising over the past several years due to increasing inflation and widespread outbreaks of avian flu. Under the Biden administration, prices increased by 22% and kept rising under President Trump. The drop in prices coming 2 weeks after Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins announced a $1 billion investment aimed at reducing egg costs, and just days after the DOJ launched an investigation into egg producers for alleged price fixing and market manipulation. Secretary Rollins telling Fox Business the work is just getting started.
We're seeing some relief. We've got a long way to go. Listen, combating the avian bird flu is not something that we can do overnight. It is a long-term effort. But the Biden administration, this was a major problem that they had 2 years ago. They talked about it. They wrote some plans about it, and then nothing ever happened. So I think that it's really important to know, and for your viewers, that we are on it. We have a major plan we've rolled out. As you mentioned, it's got 5 different points. But the really piece of, at least right now today, good news is that the price of eggs seem to be coming down.
Forbes reporting the avian flu outbreak began in February 2022. Since then, an estimated 166 million chickens have been culled under USDA policy. The administration's plan increases funding for biosecurity measures to prevent further spread of the flu and increases funding to replace lost chicken populations, among other measures. The increasing cost of eggs, a major focus for Democrats and the media since January 20th.
This president ran on lowering the cost of groceries, gas, rent, and eggs on day one. It has been a huge betrayal of that one promise that he made to the American people.
We have corruption up, we have chaos up, and we have costs up. Ask anyone in the egg aisle.
So the price of eggs is up.
Americans are struggling when it comes to the cost of eggs.
After months of breathless reporting on high prices, the sudden decline doesn't seem to interest the media or Democrats. Go figure. And that'll do it for your AM Update. I'm Megyn Kelly. Join me back here all week for our special series, Megyn Kelly Investigates, on the disappearance of baby Lisa Irwin, a 10-month-old girl who disappeared from her crib in the dark of night. It will air on SiriusXM Triumph Channel 111 at noon East, on youtube.com/Megyn Kelly, and on all podcast platforms on the Megyn Kelly Show feed.